let's do this way.
All right. How about up here? Does this work too? 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. All right.
Let me just walk. Let me walk to the mixer. All right, one last time. I'm gonna test all microphones. 1, 2, 1, 2 on this one. Check, check. Check on the handheld. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. And for the important microphone, check. 1, 2. Everybody's good? Not too loud? Everybody's happy? If you're happy, I'm happy. So, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. 1, 2. Microphone check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Everybody good? Okay, we'll roll with it. Thank you for your cooperation.
If I can have everybody's attention, please, before we get formally started, I just wanted to walk through some procedural items for today. First of all, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. This is a great turnout. We're a little over a week away from our home opener on March 6th with Real Salt Lake, so very excited about it. We'll have Phil give you a brief update on a number of things related to the team and the business. Following the press conferences, we'll have Phil, Adrian, and Kaká here. Then we will go through a media rotation through 5 different stations. I believe most of you have been briefed on this, if not all, when you came in and checked in. So the room where you had lunch has now been broken up into radio, online print. There's a photo room, TV we're going to station here, and then we're doing another station with the green room with the players. For the presentation here, we're going to do each person individually, some formal comments, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So please, I encourage you, this is the opportunity to get a good update on where things stand, not only with the club, but with the squad and certainly from the captain. Another thing, I don't have my comms team members here yet, so I'll introduce them in a little bit. Credentials. So most of you that have applied and have been approved for credentials, you can pick them up tomorrow at the match, at the Bahia match. If you're not able to attend, you can also just let us know and we'll schedule a pickup at our offices. And I guess the last resort would be, you could pick it up at the first match. But I would recommend if you can get it beforehand, it would be very convenient. The media entrance at the stadium is the same as it's been in the Southeast Breezeway, so we'll have Chuck in there, same as last year. And you should have most of you have received parking. If you haven't yet, you'll be getting it tonight for this match, those that are going to tomorrow. Looking ahead for next week, we sent down an alert. We have a steel commemoration ceremony at the construction site on Monday at 11 a.m. If you plan to attend, you must please RSVP with me. We have limited space. I want to make sure we can accommodate everybody that's going. But I do look forward to having you all there. There will also be media opportunities around all of the events for next week. So as we look at the CFHLA tailgate party, which will be at the Cheyenne Saloon, the Purple Pride 5K on Thursday, as well as the Orlando City Pub Crawl on Saturday. We'll have opportunities for media that want to cover it, so please let me know. or a member of my team, and we can make sure to make the proper arrangements. That's pretty much all I have from a procedural standpoint. We'll get started here with Phil in a minute, and then we'll get rolling. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you. All right, if I can ask whoever's still seated, if you want to come in, we've got some seats up here. We've also got seating on the right, and we'll get started. I do want to make special mention, and I was just notified that the president of Esporte Clube Bahia is here as well, Mr. Marcelo Santana. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. All right, at this point, I'd like to welcome Mr. Phil Rollins, founder and president of Orlando City Soccer Club. Please join me on the stage. Carefully. So we're going to start with some formal comments, and then we'll open it up for questions. Phil, why don't you give us an update on where we are with Operation Fill the Bowl again, as we're looking forward to the March 6th opener with Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Media Day. We're in great shape as regards Fill the Bowl again. I'm sitting here absolutely delighted. I'm finding it difficult to keep the smile off my face. We're already at over 43,000 tickets sold for opening day again. It's incredible. Last year, Lenny, I think we talked about this a lot. The fact that we could fill the bowl, bring in 62,500 fans for that opening game was amazing. But in some ways, understandable, because it was a unique event. It was a one day in history. To think that we could do this again for our second opening game in our second season, to me, it's beyond unreal. It's an incredible dream, and just an incredible vision by the front office staff and everybody associated with the club to drive this campaign again. And I think we're not being unrealistic about it. We know we've got a lot of work to do, but we are really, really, really close to being able to tell you that we've sold out the bowl again for a second year, which is, to me, is amazing. So excited about March 6th. Can't wait to see that stadium full of purple again. And to be honest with you, just the opportunity to recapture all those memories, a second time. So this time I can probably breathe a little bit and enjoy the day. But I'm looking forward to March 6th. I'm looking forward to seeing the bowl full. And
we've looking ahead at that, we've once again launched a kickoff week this week. If you want to touch on some of those events there in admission as well.
Yeah, I think last year everybody remembered just what a great week we had leading up to opening day, and we want to recapture that spirit around the city again and galvanize our fans and quite honestly just have a great, enjoyable week leading up to first game. So we're going to repeat a lot of the things that were so successful for us in year one. We have, of course, we have the mini pitch.
We have the tailgate.
Tailgate, yes. Thank you. Yep. We have the tailgate event, which is on the Tuesday, Lenny, am I right?
That's correct.
I've got one thing right. Okay. So the tailgate event on the Tuesday, which will kick things off for us, which is going to be a great opportunity for the fans to come out and mingle with the players. On Thursday, we have our 5K run downtown, which last year was incredibly successful. Numbers are already ahead of where they were for last year. So we know we're going to have a bigger 5K downtown this year than last year as well. And of course, then the pub crawl, which is one of my favorite events. I think it's very interesting that as a soccer club, we have equal interest in both the 5K and the pub crawl. It kind of sums up Orlando City well. But no, the pub crawl on the Saturday is again a great social event and a chance to get everybody out in downtown and just build up the atmosphere in readiness for Sunday.
Excellent. Now, let's change to.
Sorry.
Make it a pub run.
Thanks, Paul. There's probably too much liability in that one.
The folks here were all given little viewers as part of the kickoff for Lion Nation. And some folks may still have some questions. But I wanted to walk through kind of what that program is for us, for the business.
The information pack and the viewers and the season tickets pack that we sent out earlier this week was just the very beginning, is the tip of what is going to be a huge program for this organization, and it's the Lion Nation membership program. It's a very unique membership program. It will build over time. This is the very beginnings of it, and we're adding more and more components into it every week and every month. It'll launch later on this spring, and it's going to be a very exclusive membership program with lots and lots of benefits, which is going to be tied in around a membership point scheme with lots of our partners and lots of opportunity for our fan base who wants to be really close and have exclusive access to our team and our players and our organization to have that access, and at the same time build a point system to give them payback and give them discounts, if you will, on lots of different offers and special promotions and vendor promotions. So great, unique program, just kicking off. More details of it to come. You can find out all about it on lionnation.com, but you'll be hearing more and more about the program as the year develops.
Thank you, Phil. And you all will receive a press release upon exit that has information on that, so you can, of course, visit the website, but also reference the release.
Can I say one thing else? Well, Lenny, it's the on Lion Nation. The Lion Nation program is a recognition as well of the fact that we are now becoming a global brand. It's not just about our local fans and our local season ticket holders, but we have people around the world who want to be close to the club, associated with the club, and be fans of the club. And Lion Nation allows us to do that and to spread our organization out beyond just the borders of Central Florida.
Excellent. Talking about an international brand, that's a good transition over into Copa America. We're now 98 days away. What can you talk about a little bit with the tournament coming to Orlando and the games that we have here?
Yeah, I think it's remarkable that we can sit here just 6 years on after we launched the club in Orlando, and 6 years later we're sitting here talking about bringing what will be the biggest soccer tournament that this country has seen since the World Cup in 1994, and Orlando will be a host. It's a fantastic achievement. It's a great feat by everybody associated with the club, the city of Orlando, Orange County, the Central Florida Sports Commission, and everybody that worked collaboratively to bring Copa America here. We're going to be a host city for 3 games, a tremendous opportunity for our fan base, of course, but for fans from all around the world to come and experience Orlando and come and experience some of the best soccer players in the world in one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world. And we're delighted that Orlando was chosen. The Citrus Bowl is going to be host for those 3 games. 3 great games. Of course, we're going to get to see the great Brazil in town for one of those games. I believe, I don't know if it's public knowledge, I think they're going to be based here, or at least we hope they're going to be based here in the Central Florida region for the whole of the tournament. So we get the chance to host one of the greatest nations in the world, but also see them play. And along with them, of course, 2 other games, which are going to be tremendously exciting. I think, again, another opportunity for just to fill the bowl down at the Citrus Bowl for some tremendous international soccer. And I know about you, but I'm personally very much looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you, Phil. And tickets are available at www.ca2016.com. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add from a formal comment standpoint, or can we open it up for Q&A?
No, let's do Q&A.
Right. With that, we'd like to open it up for Q&A. We do have a microphone, Sky, if you want to, we can start right here. If you have a question, please raise your hand. When you get the mic, state your name and affiliation so we know who you are and where you're from.
Phil, over here to your left, George Diaz.
Oh,
my
hi,
friend.
George.
Orlando Sentinel.
You're behind the dais, George.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
I've got Thank you for that.
No problem.
We'll be here all week. What are the unique challenges between inaugural season and doing it all over again for year 2? What are the differences, and what are the different challenges that you face as an organization?
I think the challenge for us and the goal, George, is exactly as it was in year 1. We were very public about our goal in 2015, which was to make the playoffs. And I think, for several people thought it was a publicity stunt or marketing. It wasn't. This organization, this club, believed in itself, believed in its players, and believed in its coaching staff, believed that we could make that goal. And we were bitterly disappointed come the end of the season when we hadn't made it. We were very, very close. We were within, a game or 2 of making that a reality. But for that reason, the goal doesn't change. The goal for us is exactly the same in 16 as it was in 15. And that's to make the playoffs. And it has to be our goal because, first of all, we believe we're good enough. But also, secondly, as you've seen with Portland, if you can make that playoff spot, then if you go in with momentum and you go in on a roll, then anything's possible. You can win a championship, and Portland showed that. So making it through that gate into the playoffs is important, and it's the same goal this year as last year.
Go right here to Paul, and we'll come around this way.
To that note, obviously this is the team that's going to look different in year two. Kevin's back for one. Antonio Nocerino's added. Is there a sense that there's more of an emphasis on winning now and going to look forward to pair with the many young players you signed last year to try to find more veterans? Was there a goal in your mind as the GM, acting GM, to try to find some veteran players that could kind of counter that youth and bring that savvy to get to the playoffs?
Yes, Paul. I mean, it's a good question. There was and there is. That is the focus. I think if you look at the lessons we learned from 2015 and you go back and look at the statistics, we were by a long way the youngest team in the league. On average age, we're the youngest team by far. And that young team, in my opinion, performed extremely well, did extremely well to get to where it got to. To support that young team, we've got a lot of talent and a lot of exciting talent in that young team. You need depth and you need experience. So this offseason has all been about that. It's been about adding depth and adding experience so that we can go deep into the year. You saw how the injuries that we had last year hurt us. Our bench wasn't as deep as it needed to be. Not surprising, given it was year one. Okay, it's difficult to build everything out in the first year. So for us in this preseason, the focus is definitely bringing on players like Nocerino, bringing in players like Kevin Alston, bringing in experienced players who can add to the depth and add to the quality. So if we do get injuries or we do have suspensions, that we've got people who can come in off the bench and play more than a role. They can play a positive, impactful role in taking the club forward. So yeah, that has been our focus. It is. We have got not a lot of room to manoeuvre now, within our slots and our cap and everything else. So you're not going to see us add 3 or 4 or 5 new pieces. That's not our focus. We don't need to do that, and it's not what we're looking to do. But if we could then maybe add one more piece, then I'd be very, very happy. And I know Adrian would too.
We'll go in the back, and then we'll go to Michael Citro next.
Hi, Mr. Rollins. This is Melissa Thomas with Florida National News.
Hi, Melissa.
In the 6 years that you've been with Orlando City Soccer, what do you believe is the greatest accomplishment for the soccer club?
Oh, that's a really good question. I could say hiring Lanny Santiago.
I would agree. Thank you.
So let me think about it. I don't think it's what this football club has achieved. It's what this community has achieved. Because I think the greatest success that we've had is to bring the community together, and the way the community has come together around the club. So in my mind, it's one and the same thing. The club and the community have come together unbelievably. And I think that's what everyone sees. And it's not have we performed that well on the field? Have we done this? Have we done that? It was really embodied in that 62,000 people that came out on day one. There was, if you go back 6 years, we would have been sitting here talking about, can Orlando be a soccer marketplace? Is Orlando ready for this? Can minor league soccer work in Central Florida? Are we going to ask any of those questions today? I don't think so. That's never going to come up again, But 2 years ago, we anointed ourselves soccer capital of the South, and that is very clear, and it's very evident. So the way this community has come together around the football club, the way the club has come together within the community, the way the two have embraced each other, the difference that this has made in people's lives, that for me is the greatest achievement we've made.
We'll go to Michael Citro, and then up front to Ty here, and then we'll come back around this way.
Michael Citro, themainland.com. Phil, can you give us an update on the, as far as the roster is concerned, the international slot situation and maybe what the current situation is with the Super Draft picks?
So on the roster, we're going through now, just finalising the last few slots. We've got to be roster compliant, Mike, by March 1st, which is not too far away. But that's down to the coaches really, and Nikki and myself, just to see how players are developing in pre-season. For example, which players do we send down to OCB? Which players do we keep with the MLS team? Those decisions obviously be made the next couple of days, but we're in great shape in terms of where we need to be for that. Final decisions will be taken over the weekend after the game against Bahia. But we're in good shape to be roster compliant and international compliant. So, second part of your question was?
The super draft signings, or which guys are being signed, which guys are not.
Right, and again, that's part of that whole equation. We're looking at Haji and Richie and assessing them. We believe we went into the draft with 3 targets, and we came out with 2 of those 3. So we were completely satisfied, very, very happy with what we came away with. We got the players we wanted. I think both of those players have got great futures for the club. Both Haji and Richie are quality players, great feet, skillful, quick, great eye for the game. I mean, I know Adrian has got a lot of nothing but upside potential for those guys, so we're glad to have them around.
Ty?
Hi, Mr. Rollins. Ty Rothschild with Paramore Pundits.
Oh, hi, Ty.
You did announce last week that Antonio Nocerino was signed in, is coming to Orlando. Are you able to comment on how he's going to impact the salary cap? Will he be a designated player, or did you buy him down?
No, he's not a designated player. He's a TAM player. Without going into the details of TAM versus DP versus, I don't think you want me to do. But he's a target allocation money player, and he was always designed to be so, and that's the way we brought him in.
We'll go to Carolina next, and then we'll come across the front row here.
Carolina Salazar from El Sentinel.
Hi.
We have spoken in the past about how important the Latino community is for the fan base. I would like to hear what are some of the strategies that you're going to use this year to keep attracting those people.
Well, I think the most important thing is it's not, for my mind, it's not about whether you're Latino or Caribbean or South American or European or gingerhead or blonde-haired. It's about the game, right? And I think what we do with the game, the quality of our product, and what we deliver to our fan base is what attracts those fans, regardless of the background or where they come from. If they see good quality soccer, if they see exciting soccer, if they see players who care about the shirt and about the passion of the club, and they're with their friends and they're embracing that passion, I think the background is secondary, because the love of the game always comes first.
Go to Gramajo and Danny, and then we'll come across.
I felt Mike Gramajo, Orlando Soccer Journal. Actually, to Ty's question regarding Antonio Chirino, is there an exact date on when he'll arrive? I know there's some paperwork issues there just to get him here.
It just depends when the boat docks. No, seriously, it isn't Nocerino or any particular player, Mike. It's any player you bring in from overseas. You've got to go through the same process with them. You've got to file their application. You've got to send that off to the embassy. You've got to get them an appointment at the embassy. They've got to go in and do that appointment. It's the boring stuff it's the sausage making behind the scenes that you really don't want to see, but that happens with every overseas player that you bring in. And it's a frustrating process, because you sign a player and you'd like nothing more the next day than to kind of bring you up the steps, sit him down and go, here's Antonio Nocerino, and instead of which he's sat in an office in Milan waiting for a US embassy appointment. So it's that process you go through with every player. We are well down the track on it. We've got his appointment. We know when it is. We know when his passport should be turned around. We hope that by roughly the middle of next week we should have him sat right here. But then fingers crossed that all happens.
Next question, we'll go to Danny. We got time for 2 more, so we'll go with Danny, and we'll end with Simon here up front.
Good afternoon, Phil.
We got
Danny
one in the
Morales
back.
from the Valencia Voice.
Hi, Danny.
You mentioned that you obviously want to fill the bowl again. You already got 43,000 tickets sold for that. I know
That was yesterday, so it might be more than that today.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know the Citrus Bowl, when they did the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, they brought in the beams so that they could kind of have a little bit more attendance
Yeah.
than you guys. Is there any ideas that if you guys have the demand for it and you guys can make it to think about bringing in more seating, or is 62,500 kind of what you guys are aiming for?
I think this year, if we can, it's a stretch, right? I mean, the first year we had all those things going for us of a new team and a first game and historical event. To even think that we could replicate that in our second year, to me, is amazing. So I'll be more than happy if we hit that 62,000 goal again. I think we will, and we'll get very, very close to it. But if we could do that, I think it's a tremendous testament to the support we have in the community and the whole Central Florida and the football fan base here that we have.
All right, we'll go to Simon, and then we'll end in the back with Shane.
Hi there, Phil.
Hi, Simon.
You've said already this morning that you feel that there's a lot of things about this season that are shaping up similarly to last year, and that the feeling, obviously, of the intentions is the same. But what's different so far about this year, and how is it shaping up in a different way?
Good question, because there's a lot of differences, and we really shouldn't just focus on the similarities. The differences are impactful. I think, Simon, the biggest difference is that those players, that young squad that we talked about, which is full of talent and full of exciting young players, that squad is a year older and a year wiser, more importantly. They've been to Chicago, they've been to Seattle, they've been to New York. They're going back to places they're familiar with. They're going back to play opponents that they've played before. They're going back to play teams they know they can beat. And they're coming off the back, remember, of a 6 out of 7 winning streak at the end of last year. They know they can beat anybody in this league, and they know they can beat the best. And they have that confidence this year that they didn't know last year. That doesn't say they didn't have it. They didn't know. They were untested, they were untried. They didn't know who they were going to play against. They didn't know their opponents. This year, they were all a year older and a year wiser. And it's more than just a year. It's the difference between being inexperienced and being experienced. And for that reason, I'll be honest, I'm as excited as I've ever been about a season. This, to me, is going to be a great year for us.
Going back to Shane for the last question.
Shane Whitehead, WFTV, WRDQ. Phil, can you give us an update on stadium construction, the progress being made there?
Sure, Shane. I'm delighted to say that today we placed the first piece of steel in the ground at the stadium. So we're coming out of the ground and going vertical, which is it's a major milestone for any stadium. So steelwork started to go in place today. We'll have a ceremony on Monday, I believe.
That's correct.
Lenny,
Yep.
For the steelwork. But it's great to see that we've made that progress. If you go down there and look at the site, you know that we're going down below street level. You can see now where the field will be. You can see the beginnings of the terracing, where the first few rows of the fans will sit. And now with the structure, the steelwork coming up out of the ground, I think you're going to see a lot of progress in the next few months. We're right on track. We have no reason to believe that we won't be ready in plenty of time for the first game of the 2017 season. That is going to be another momentous opening day when we can open our own stadium at the beginning of 17.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
We will have head coach Adrian Heath join us here in a second. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any members of the media that are still standing kind of outside, feel free to come on up. We've got some seats on the right here as well and on the left, so please join us. And now I'll welcome Adrian Heath to the stage.
As president of FIFA.
All right, we're joined now by Lions head coach Adrian Heath. Adrian, we'll open up with just a couple of quick comments, your thoughts on the overview of preseason and the outlook for the first match against Real Salt Lake in 2016.
Well, I think like everybody, we're really excited to, it's just around the corner now. It seems as though the last 5 or 6 weeks has taken a little bit longer than usual. Everybody's really excited. I think it's probably the most excited I've been since we've had the group, because I can see how much we've improved from last year. I've had a couple of additions as well, and I think that, when I compare where we are now to where we were this time last year, I think we're a lot further down the road. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to what the next 9 months brings.
All right. We will open it up for questions now. I'm sure a lot of folks have questions for Coach, so please raise your hand if you've got one. Sorry, here, and we'll come around.
You still here?
I'm still here.
Okay, just checking.
Should I ask the tougher questions before I go?
Go on then.
Phil kind of touched on this. You guys were so young last year. Double the minutes of any other league in MLS for players 21 and younger.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was a goal to try to add some experience and depth to the squad going into year 2. Do you feel that you did that enough to the point where you're satisfied with that aspect of the roster? And does being in year two and having more of that depth and those pieces add pressure to get to the playoffs even more than last year because you're 2 years in now and you're rounding out the roster?
Well, the pressure will start from inside. You know, we want to make the playoffs, and I'm sure that the people, the board, want to make the playoffs more this year than they did last year. It's not that we had an excuse last year, but everybody knows how difficult it is in your first year. I just think that we are so much further down the road. You touched on the fact that we had the youngest team in the MLS last year. Not the youngest squad, but certainly the youngest starting 11. I think that's going to be invaluable to them moving forward. Kevin Molino's back. That would be like having a new player for us. I think the fact that even Kaká's been here for a year will be better for him. I just think everybody's better prepared for what's going to be ahead of us. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think that the East has got considerably stronger. You know, Chicago have completely revamped their roster. I expect them to be an awful lot better. I saw the game the other night against Minnesota. They've got a different roster and a different mentality. I think Toronto are going to be stronger. I think New York City, different coach, are going to be stronger. So we're going to have to be better if we're going to finish in the playoffs. It's not going to be easy, but I've got a lot of belief in this group, and I think that we'll go one step further next year.
Go here to Ty and then to Simon.
Coach Ty Rothschild, Paramore Pundits. Just to follow up on that, it's very clear that the organization's goal is to make the playoffs. But when you look at how deep this roster is and how talented it is, does a part of you feel that the team could potentially compete towards the top of the table?
I think one of the things that we showed last year, at any given day, that we're more than capable for anybody in the MLS. You look at the fact that, you know, we beat Portland away. The other team in the final was Columbus. We beat them twice. We beat New York City and New York Red Bulls 5-2 away when they were going to be the supporters champion. So we can compete. What we have to be is more consistent. And I think there is mitigating circumstances for some of that. Some of that was self-inflicted, some of the red cards we got. You know, some of the injuries, soft tissue injuries, which we've tried to address. There's an awful lot of little things that I think incrementally will help us to be better than we were last year. But we're going to have to be better, because I've just said, you know, I think that the league has improved.
Go right here to Simon and then to Danny.
Adrian, obviously bringing in Antonio Nocerino is a big step forward, and you've talked about what he brings to the team in terms of the flexibility across midfield. But what does he bring to the team that it doesn't have at the moment?
Another added experience. He's played for one of the biggest clubs in the world, so the pressure, he's used to playing under pressure. He's played for Italy, and he's played in probably one of the most demanding leagues in the world in terms of pressure on players to deliver. So, no disrespect to the MLS, he's coming here, and this is not going to be a problem for him. What we have to do is hopefully try and integrate him as quickly as possible. And it does give us other options in midfield. Do we suddenly play 3 in the centre of midfield rather than 2? Do we turn the diamond round rather than having 2 and a 1? Do we have 1 and a 2? So there's a lot of things that we can do with this inclusion. But more importantly, I think we've added somebody who's going to be a very, very good player for us. Somebody who will play in the starting 11 and make us better.
All right. We'll go to Danny and then across the mic, and then we'll go in the back to Citron.
Good afternoon, Coach. Danny Morales, Valencia Voice. Over the past 2-3 years, this team has added a lot of young players, Ty Turner, Tommy Redding, Harrison Heath. Now that you guys have OCB, is that kind of an advantage for you guys to be able to have them just hour and a half down the road if you need them, but they'll be able
English and then in Spanish, if you would please, your thoughts on the match for tomorrow against Bahia and then the first game in March 6th.
Well, for the game tomorrow, I think it's very good for us, this game. It's a preseason game, our first game in the Citrus Bowl this year. So it's good for us to keep practicing and be ready for the first official match on 6 March. And also for me, special, play against Bahia again, another Brazilian team for Brazil. Everybody in Brazil is going to watch this game. So a lot of good things for that tomorrow. So I hope the supporters can enjoy our last preseason game and be ready for to feel the ball again.
Y si por favor lo puede decir en español.
Bueno, el partido de mañana yo creo que va a ser un buen partido importante para nosotros, para terminar nuestra preparación. Para mí especial también jugar contra un equipo brasileño otra vez. Un partido donde van a ver todos en Brasil. Con certeza mi familia, mis amigos van a estar mirando ese partido. Y luego nuestro primer partido también en el Citrus Bowl este año. Y que todos podamos estar prontos y listos para empezar el campeonato el 6 de marzo.
All right, we will open it up for questions. We're going to start right here on the left-hand side. And we'll come around.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. How important is it for you to lead this to something in what many believe is going to be the last chapter of your career, to end it successfully at the MLS level?
Well, it's so important for me. I think this year is going to be much better than last season. So we start from knowing each other much better than the last season. And for me, win the MLS Cup one day is going to be a very, very good goal for my career. So this year our goal is make the playoffs. And when we get there, for sure we are going to think about to win the MLS Cup.
Did you have a good year?
Yeah, I had a very good year as an experience, as my first year in MLS. So now I understand the league, I understand the teams, how things works. For sure, I have to improve. I have to learn much more than I know. But last season was my first year of the team in the league, so everything was new. And this year, we know much more about the league and better. We know each other much better. So I know the coach better. I know my teammates better. And so I think this can help us, and we will help us on the field.
We'll go right here to Sergio.
En español, ¿cómo estás, Kaká? Sergio
Todo
Ruiz. ¿Cómo te sientes para esta nueva temporada y particularmente qué va a representar para ti tener la posibilidad de estar con los Serinos nuevamente en un equipo contigo?
Bien, me siento bien. Estamos haciendo una muy buena pretemporada. Para mí personalmente muy especial. Son 4 goles ya en 3 partidos. Y estoy bien físicamente, consiguiendo jugar los partidos, recuperando bien. Entonces, mi objetivo este año es mejorar mis números de la última temporada, llegar a los playoffs con Orlando, luego seguir con la selección brasileña. Entonces tengo mis objetivos personales, mis objetivos colectivos, y luego jugar con Nocerino otra vez va a ser un grandísimo placer. Es un jugador que nos va a aportar muchísimo, un grandísimo talento. Puedes dar y va a nos dar una grandísima mano para que lleguemos a nuestros objetivos de esta temporada.
We'll go next to Danny.
Yeah. Buenos días, Ricardo. Dani Morales de aquí, Valencia, en Orlando. Te quiero preguntar nada más, yo sé que el club es primero contigo, pero el equipo de Brasil va a jugar aquí en el verano, en la Copa América. ¿Hay un poquito más motivación para ti para poder jugar para el equipo de Brasil y ser aquí en Orlando, donde tu home ahora mismo?
Primero, yo creo que la Copa América Centenario va a ser un grandísimo evento. Y luego, si yo puedo tener la oportunidad de jugar en otra Copa América con Brasil y estar con Brasil en un otro torneo, va a ser importantísimo para mi carrera. Con certeza es una motivación a más. Y a ver si voy a estar ahí. Si Dunga crees que sigo siendo importante para la selección. La semana que viene, el 3 de marzo, tenemos una convocatoria que va a ser para las partidos de cualificaciones. y a ver, si él acredita que yo puedo seguir aportando y yo también creo que puedo seguir aportando a la selección, va a ser un grandísimo placer jugar la Copa América Centenario aquí en Estados Unidos.
We'll go right here and keep going across and then back.
Hi, Kaka, how are you?
Fine.
Earlier this week, Adrian Heath said that he liked how you were playing more up the field, and he even mentioned that he wants to see more out of you going into the season in terms of goals. Do you see yourself becoming more active on the final third, helping contribute, being able to help Kyle Larin score goals, but at the same time, you being able to put some goals in the net as well this season?
Yeah, as we are working on it, this preseason I try to be more up on the field, behind, not so far from Kyle, and that get results until now. Until now, I have 4 goals in 3 games, so that should be good for the preseason. But I need to improve a little bit more movement, and we are working on that to be on shape, because I have to get better in a few movements. But I like to play there. I like to play more close to the goal.
Go to Carolina and then we'll come back.
Gracias. Mi pregunta también es en español. Quiero saber si está satisfecho con la manera en que el equipo ha traído a la comunidad latina al estadio, o si cree que hay cosas que se pudieran hacer mejor para atraer a más latinos al estadio.
Yo estoy muy satisfecho con el trabajo que está haciendo el club para atraer los aficionados, no solo los latinos, más los aficionados en general, principalmente los americanos, porque vivimos en Estados Unidos y tenemos que pensar que es un deporte que hay y va a crecer mucho aquí. Para nosotros latinos el fútbol es el sport más popular, entonces un poquito más fácil. Enhorabuena para todos en el club que están trabajando en esta dirección. Pero creo que siempre se puede mejorar, entonces siempre puede tener la posibilidad de crecer y buscar alternativas para que la gente, los latinos, los americanos, los brasileños y todos puedan seguir admirando el fútbol aquí en Orlando.
Right here. No, right here. Yep.
Kaká, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
También la pregunta en español, Jimmy Pizarro de Enfoque y TDI Sports. La pregunta sería, volviendo al tema de la Copa América, después del sorteo que hubo recientemente en Nueva York, ¿cómo ve usted el grupo, más allá del favoritismo de Brasil como cabeza, en cuanto a posibilidades?
Bueno, todos los torneos que Brasil disputa como un equipo favorito. Entonces sigue otra vez siendo uno de los favoritos de la Copa América Centenario. El grupo seguramente no es el más difícil. De verdad yo prefiero cuando el grupo es más difícil, porque el equipo entra siempre mucho más concentrado, está siempre mucho más foco con el foco en lo que puede pasar de negativo también. Entonces, pero creo que Brasil va a ser una grandísima Copa América Centenario y a ver si buscamos un otro título para Brasil.
We'll go to Melissa and then next over to you.
Hi, Captain. This is Melissa Thomas with Florida National News. Given the improvement of the team for this year, what team do you personally most look forward to playing again for the 2016 season?
Well, I don't have any preference. I can say that. Last season was so nice. So everything that happened last season was so good for me to understand the league, the stadium that we played. We played in Seattle. Seattle, it's very good, the environment, the atmosphere, and Portland as well. Portland, at the end of the season, won the championship, and so it's so this year we're gonna play in LA, in Vancouver, different cities that we didn't play last season, and for sure will be a very good experience as well. And for them, it's good as well when they come here and play with our supporters too, because when we play in Citrus Bowl, it's amazing atmosphere.
Ricardo, ¿cómo estás?
Bien.
El calendario el año pasado de la MLS fue un poco diferente a lo que has vivido antes en Europa. No sé si has tenido la oportunidad de revisar este año el calendario cuando va a haber la Copa América. Van a tener un mes en que no van a jugar y se cruza con las fechas FIFA. ¿Tú qué opinión tienes acerca de eso?
Yo he mirado un poquito, pero creo que son 15 días sin partido, ¿verdad? jugamos el 28 de mayo, creo, y luego el 18, el 1 de junio y el 30 de junio. No, yo creo que es importante tener este hueco, porque muchos jugadores van a estar ahí jugando, pero es una cosa que vamos a pasar siempre. Los clubes tienen que habituarse, porque luego los jugadores quieren jugar con sus selecciones también, y este año hay la Copa América, hay los partidos de cualificaciones, tienen las Olimpiadas, que probablemente tendremos jugadores que van a estar ahí también. Los clubes tienen que, aquí en Estados Unidos, tienen que habituarse a esto, porque todavía no ha intercalado los partidos de FIFA con el campeonato, entonces habituarse a esto. Y yo creo que este año aquí con Orlando vamos a tener muchos partidos que no jugamos cuando hay data FIFA. Entonces esto ya es una cosa muy positiva. Entonces poco a poco los clubes van organizándose para no perder las oportunidades que tienen, que sus jugadores sirvan a la selección y también dejen de jugar por el club.
We'll go to Adam in the back, and then we'll come back around this way.
Hey, Adam Shadow, Fox 35. I know there's a small chance that you could potentially make the Olympic team for Brazil. What would it mean to you to play in the Olympics, probably the one event you haven't played in your career in your home country?
Oh, it will be amazing. I didn't have the chance to play the Olympics when I had the age, so now I probably, if I go, I have to be one of the 3 over age. So it not depends on me, depends on the coach. So what are gonna be his choice? But if he's count on me, I'll be ready.
Come right here to Simon, and then we'll come back up this side.
Ricardo, Coach Heath has already spoken this morning about how he senses a greater sense of urgency in you for this year and what you're looking to achieve. Having had a year of MLS, what are the most important things that you took away from last year that will help you to have more impact this season?
Well, as I said, I think personally, I'll try to play more close to the goal, because I think there is the area that I can make a big difference. So even if I don't touch the ball so many times during the game, I will wait for the best chance. This is one thing that I'll try to change this season. And the second is the group for me. The group's so important. We just spoke about the calendar. During the season, it's normal that we are going to lose a lot of players for the national team, injuries, and different situations. But we have to be ready for that. So we can't just count on 11 players or 12, 13 players. We have to count on 18, 19 players that can be replaced, that can play every game. So this is going to be the big difference for us this season.
Before we jump to the next question, Kaká, can you comment in Portuguese, please, on your thoughts about the match against Bahia, and then Copa América and our season, the first game here?
Bom, sobre o jogo do Bahia amanhã, acredito que é um jogo muito importante para nós, que é nosso primeiro jogo no Citrus Bowl essa temporada. Nosso último jogo de pré-temporada, antes da estreia no dia 6 de março. Então vai ser um jogo importantíssimo. Para mim, em especial, jogar de novo contra um time brasileiro. Ano passado a gente jogou contra a Ponte Preta, esse ano a gente joga contra o Bahia. É muito importante, porque nós do Orlando queremos também que a MLS invada o Brasil, como tem invadido já. E esse jogo vai ser visto no Brasil inteiro, todo mundo vai estar acompanhando. Então vai ser um jogo legal, divertido, para nós muito importante como preparação. Acredito que para o Bahia também vai ser um jogo importante, sendo reconhecido aqui fora como um clube de tradição no Brasil. Então acredito que vai ser um excelente jogo. Com relação à Copa América Centenário, todos os torneios que o Brasil entra sempre como grande favorito. Esse não vai ser diferente, mais uma vez como favorito. E aqui, jogando nos Estados Unidos, acho que vai ser um grande impacto para o futebol americano. São 10 sedes, são 16 times. Dos 3 finalistas de melhor jogador do mundo, 2 vão estar aqui, que é o Messi e o Neymar. Então acho que tudo isso vai contribuir muito para o futebol. Para a seleção brasileira, uma grande oportunidade de conseguir e continuar buscando a credibilidade. Enfim, acredito e espero que eu possa estar lá também disputando essa Copa América, porque vai ser uma grande oportunidade para nós. E com relação à nossa temporada, acredito que o que eu gostaria, e é o nosso primeiro objetivo, é que a gente chegue aos playoffs esse ano, diferente do que aconteceu ano passado, e logo quando a gente estiver aí disputando os playoffs, pensar em ser campeão da Liga Americana, que é um dos meus grandes objetivos e sonhos aí dentro da minha carreira.
Obrigado. All right, we'll go right here.
En español. Claudia Montes, de Revistas Sin Fronteras. Se ha hablado de la Copa América, se ha hablado de, obviamente, del MLS, del papel que va a desarrollar en esta temporada Orlando City. Pero hay algo que me llama mucho la atención. Ha crecido muchísimo el deporte, el fútbol aquí en Orlando. Y tuve la oportunidad hace poco de estar con muchos niños. Y Kaká es una de las figuras favoritas de los niños. Pero me llamó la atención mucho una pregunta que me hizo un niño y me dijo, si tú ves a Kaká, pregúntale para él qué es el fútbol. ¿Qué le contestarías a estos niños que apenas están aprendiendo a conocer este deporte? Tú como deportista, ¿qué les dirías?
Bueno, esta es una pregunta que yo hago todos los días para mí también. ¿Qué es el fútbol para mí? Y para mí es una diversión, es mi placer y es el deporte que amo hacer. Esto es la definición final, es el deporte que yo amo. Entonces, busco todos los días tener el mismo placer de jugar a fútbol con 10,000, 5,000, 100,000 personas, como yo tenía simplemente de jugar a fútbol con mis amigos donde nadie miraba. Entonces, esta es la lucha y la motivación que busco todos los días, porque si estoy ahí entrenando es porque me gusta muchísimo el deporte que yo amo.
All right, we got time for a few more questions. We'll go Citro, Ty, Farah, and we'll end over here.
Michael Citro, themainland.com. Ricardo, last year before the season started, you were on loan with Sao Paulo and playing in Brazil, and this year you didn't have that. Do you notice a difference in the way that you feel entering the season now that we're just a few days away, and how are you feeling overall?
Yeah, but during the off season, I try to be ready for the season. So I prepared myself even during the off season, because it's a large period. But in my mind, I had the idea that this season is going to be different from last season. I need to be better. I need to do more. So I want to improve my numbers. I want to be much better than what happened last season. So for that, during the off season, I trained a lot. I came in a very good shape. I started with the team, so my numbers already improving from the last season, from the last preseason, in all senses. It's number on the field, physically, and this means a lot for me that I'm the right way.
Go to Ty and Farah.
Hi, Kaká. Can you just speak real quickly about how nice it's going to be to have Kevin Molino back on the pitch and how he can help you in the attacking midfield?
Oh, I love Kevin Molino. You guys know last season I did the goal, and I celebrate for him because I think Kevin's a very nice guy and he's gonna help us a lot. So he's a very good player. He thinks in a different way. He's smart on the field. He's got a technique. He's a very talented guy. So I'm cheering for Kevin this season because he needs that, and he's a very nice guy.
Farah?
Hola, Kaká, Telemundo Orlando, en español. Kyle Laren, Darwin Serén fueron jugadores claves el año pasado. ¿Cuáles jugadores tú piensas que este año van a ser revelación para el equipo? Y también puedes contestar sobre tu posible participación en las Olimpiadas.
Bueno, muy difícil decir quién va a ser las revelaciones, pero espero que estos jugadores puedan seguir sumando. Espero de verdad que esta temporada sea mejor todavía para Kyle, que la segunda normalmente es un poquito más difícil porque ahora todos conocen a Kyle, todos saben ya quién es, cómo juega y todo eso, pero él tiene la cabeza muy buena y yo creo que va a ser una grandísima temporada todavía. Darwin me gusta muchísimo por su calidad, cómo juega, entonces creo que va a ser un jugador importante. Luego tenemos muchísimos jugadores que pueden hacer la diferencia. Vamos a tener Kevin Molino de vuelta, que va a nos ayudar muchísimo. Luego Pedro también, que puede jugar muchos partidos. Bueno, la verdad que tenemos jugadores que pueden sorprender mucho esta esa temporada. Y luego la posibilidad de jugar las Olimpiadas me gustaría mucho. Yo nunca he tenido la posibilidad de jugar las Olimpiadas. Cuando yo tenía la edad para jugar, el Brasil no se calificó para las Olimpiadas y luego este año yo tendría que ser uno de los 3 fuera de la edad. Entonces, a ver, no depende solo de mí, pero si el entrenador piensa que yo puedo contribuir, yo voy a estar listo para eso.
Gracias.
Okay, we'll end right here. We have our guests from the Sports Club Bahia.
Hello, everybody. Peço desculpas para falar em português, mas a nossa torcida também está acompanhando, Kaká. Seguinte, a gente queria saber se você conhece os jogadores, alguns dos jogadores que estão no Bahia. Tem o Marcelo Lomba, que você acha que enfrentou no passado. Tem o Hernani Brocador, que tem feito muito gol, jogou no Flamengo e está fazendo muito gol esse ano também. E se você está sabendo, me imagino que sim, que tem muitos amigos seus vindo, como a própria Cláudia Leite, a cantora, e outras personalidades do Brasil, para acompanhar esse jogo. Eu queria uma palavrinha sua sobre isso. Obrigado.
Bom, conheço os dois. O Marcelo eu enfrentei realmente o período que eu passei no São Paulo. O Hernani, não cheguei a jogar contra ele, mas acompanho a carreira dele. Excelente atacante. Espero e desejo boa sorte para ele aí com vocês essa temporada. Eu acho que vai ser um jogo interessante para todos nós, para o Bahia. Realmente a Claudinha está vindo aí. São meus amigos pessoais, torcedora fanática do Bahia. Vai ser um brilho a mais para essa festa. E obrigado. Queria agradecer vocês aí pela visita. Muito obrigado por terem aceitado esse convite. Para nós, importantíssimo recebê-los aqui. Acredito que para vocês também vai ser uma grande oportunidade, que a gente possa continuar tendo essa ótima relação.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Kaká.
Thank you.
Obrigado. All right, with that, folks, we're going to transition into the different stations. You should have received your room assignments. If you don't know, please spot one of my communications team members. They are wearing the game day polos, the purple game day polos. They'll be able to direct you. Thank you very much, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. Just a reminder, television will be in this room, so we've got to break down and set up a little bit with some of the banners here. It would take us a while to get them translated, but I can send you the clip if you want to. We'll send you the whole interview so you can get the Spanish pieces to know someone that can translate it. You don't? Okay. When do you need it by? Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.